gonna be real diligent with cleansing after I make this video. Something is in my house. I'm like actually scared talking about it. Oh, hey there, I didn't see you come in. How's it going? Why are you in my room? Not that I was doing anything weird in my room. I'm just sitting here. I'm not up to anything suspicious. Anyways, welcome to my room and welcome to my channel, Little Light Bulbs. If you're new, that's what I call people that watch my videos because my name is Light, so it is literally so close to Halloween. I am losing my mind. I can't stop buying Halloween stuff. Like, it's a problem. But speaking of spooky season, in a previous video, I told you guys my ghost experiences when I was a kid, but today I'm gonna be telling you my ghost experiences as an adult. So when I was a kid, I used to see dead people or whatever, and as an adult, I don't see ghosts, but I can for sure feel them. So the house that I grew up when I was a kid, once we moved from there, I didn't see ghosts or feel ghosts or anything. But around like 2016, I was in a house with my mom and my dad, and I even think I had like a boyfriend living with me, is when stuff started happening again. And not only there, I then moved out to an apartment with someone else, and then that place was haunted. And then when I moved out of there back home with my parents, I was very, very careful with like what I did in my room and how I felt when I was in my room, and cleansing my room often. And the same place with here, I just moved here, and I've been really careful because I'm not down to have a haunted room again. I don't even know if I could say that the houses were like haunted because like no one else in my family felt anything or had anything happen to them, and it was literally just in my room. So that's what leads me to believe that maybe it's not haunted, maybe I'm just super sensitive to things like that, maybe. But anyways, let's get to the story because I know that's what you're waiting on. By the way, if you can hear like munching and crunching in the background, it's because my ferrets are having dinner right now. I'm not gonna be the one to stop them, so you're just gonna have to deal with it. So when it first started, I was living with my mom and dad and a boy named Matthew, and that's important for reasons you will find out in a minute. But like the very first thing I can remember where this started happening is I started just feeling weird in my room. Like people were watching me, and just really tiny stuff. But I had been living in this house for like years and nothing had happened, so of course I didn't jump to the conclusion that it was haunted. I thought maybe, I don't know what I thought. I wasn't into spirituality or anything yet, so I just kind of like brushed it off, of course, like everyone does ever. The next thing that happened is I started having these horrible, like I can't even say horrible enough, dreams. So the first dream I had, it was like a family member of mine who was being horribly tortured. He was being hung from the ceiling by hooks, and he was like flailing around and screaming in pain. And it wasn't so much the dream, it was more so like the feeling. And that's how all these dreams were. So I'm gonna do my best to like describe it accurately, but shortly. I know I tend to ramble when I talk about my feelings because they're really important to me. So bear with me. Then I had another dream that gave me the same feeling, but kind of in a different way. I was in the living room of my house, and from the living room you can see like down the hallway to my room. And there were these random kids there, and as they were walking by my door like slammed shut, and they're like little kids, so they think it's like a game, and they start knocking on the door, and something in my room is knocking back, and I'm just standing there watching. And I'm like, Mom, something's in my room. Like, we have to go check it out and make sure those kids don't go in there. And she's like, oh, whatever, you know? So then my dad comes and notices that someone's knocking in my room, but no one's in there. So he opens the door, something like drags him in, and he's like clawing at the floor with his nails. And then you know how like in scary movies, everything starts getting really loud and like, that's what it was. And it was like just this awful feeling of dread that like something evil was in the house and something big was happening, and it just made me feel like very small and scared. After I woke up from this dream, I literally went and slept in my parents' room, and I'm like a grown-ass person. And if you know me in real life, you know I'm like not affectionate, especially with my parents, and I like my space, so it's like a big deal that I couldn't even be in my own room. The next dream is kind of short and like not as scary, but I want to tell all the dreams in order because it matters. This dream, I was just walking by my bedroom door, and the blanket on my bed, it would look like someone like picked it up and dropped it, and then it was like the same horrible dread feeling. It matters because like each dream I get a little closer to the thing, like whatever the thing is that's giving me that bad feeling, I get a little closer to it. Oof, it's so, oh God. It scares me so bad to even talk about, like, eek. So Matthew was living with me at the time. I also had my friend Lennox living with me, and one of my good friends, Jeff, still lived in Vegas. He doesn't live here now. We were all at my house. Matthew was asleep in my room, and me, Lennox, and Jeff were in the living room, like talking. Like we were having like a deep talk, like very focused. So we were talking, and then one of my dogs in the dining room just starts like barking and growling, and all of us shoot up at the same time. Like we all have the same feeling. We all shoot up and like run outside. We didn't say anything. Like my dogs bark all the time. We had never done that, but we all had the same like dreadful feeling at the same time. We didn't say anything. We all just got up and went outside, and then we were all like, what the fuck was that? And then we were like, you felt it too, right? Like, oh shit, we all got up and ran out of here at the same time. Like, what was that? And I was like, I've been telling y'all, like something is in my house. So then I'm thinking like, Matthew's still in the house, and I'm like super worried. But to get to my bedroom, I have to like run through the dining room. That's what I do, because I'm a good girlfriend. So I run to my bedroom and I'm like, Matthew, and I go to like touch his leg, and then immediately like calm washes over me. Now don't get me wrong, I'm not saying this to like hype up Matthew. Matthew's a good guy, but that's like not the point of this. I think that's a really important part of the story, because whenever Matthew was around, I wouldn't have bad dreams, and for the most part, I wouldn't feel anything. Matthew's the kind of person that is like innocent, like white light. Like not that he's super nice or anything, he's just like very innocent. I think that had some effect on whatever was happening in my house. Like it shielded me, like literally shielded me. So props to Matthew for keeping me safe for the time that we were together. So fast forward like a little bit later, I have a new boyfriend living with me, Johnny. Don't judge me. So we're living at the same house, and you know, I've told him like the stuff that's been happening, because it was an ongoing issue for a long time. We'd be talking, and I swear to God, I could hear like whispering, and I'd like put my ear to the wall. It's like not the neighbors or anything. Like I could hear distinct whispering, and Johnny couldn't hear it. There was one time though, because Johnny has sleep paralysis sometimes, there was one time that he had like some scary dream where someone came into the room and was like breathing really heavily over him, and it really like shook him up. So then the next big dream that I have, I'm in this room surrounded by mirrors, and I'm like turning around because I can feel the dread, I can feel the thing near me, and I like stop in front of a mirror that's of my face. Oh God, I just got chills like thinking about this dream. I see my face. I'm like breaking out into sweat. I'm not even joking, guys. And then it's like this weird thing dawns on me that like the entity is me, or it's in me, or something along those lines. And then everything in the room starts shaking, and it's like really loud. And my jaw starts like dropping and like unhinging, like in the scary movies. That image in my head still is the most terrifying thing I have ever seen. When I see it in movies, it's not a big deal. Just the feeling that was accompanied by the dream, it was just the worst thing ever. Next dream I have really sucks. In the dream, I think he was like laying on my bed, and I was standing up, and we were fighting or something, and I was trying to like ignore it. In like the top corner of my room, I could feel the entity there. That's where I usually felt it in real life anyways, but I could feel it there in my dream. So I was like baby talking to my dog to just kind of like get my mind off it. And then it was as if the entity thought I was talking to it. And so like by directly talking to it, it like gave it some kind of power or something. I want to stop for a second and say, when I'm telling these dreams, I know that they're dreams, but to me it's like a real life event that happened because it felt so real. These aren't like just dreams I'm having, like the entity in these dreams, I feel it in real life and it's the same entity. So then I feel the thing come at me. Oof, I feel it come at me, and it like throws me on the ground, and I can feel it start to hold my legs and my arms down. I start screaming my boyfriend's name like over and over again, and then I wake up and I'm like still yelling it. And then of course he's not there at the time. He had spent the night at his friend's house, so I was alone. Another time with Johnny, we were asleep in bed, and it was early morning. I was dead asleep, and I felt something like tap on me. Like it felt like nails going like t-t-t. And so I woke up immediately, and I was like, what? And he was dead asleep, and I was like, oh hell no. So I woke him up, and I was like, did you just fucking touch me? And he was like, what? And I'm like, did you just touch me? Something just touched me. That shit scared me on a different level, because it's like I've never been touched by anything, and he swears he didn't touch me. So this next dream is the worst one so far, and it's very hard to talk about. In the dream, I was at a party with my ex-boyfriend. There was another guy at the party that my ex-boyfriend hated, and I was like chasing around this boy that he didn't like, and it was making him mad. So we go home, it's me, my ex, and our friend Jagger. And Jagger's sitting on the bed, Johnny goes to the bathroom, and I'm like sitting on the floor, and the memory is like so vivid. My legs were like out in front of me, and I was like leaning on the wall, and Jagger was sitting on the bed right in front of me. And then Jagger says this thing, that I can't repeat, but he says this thing I'm literally too scared to. And it's not even like a big deal, it's just a regular sentence, but like it triggers something, and then I feel this entity or this energy start like manifesting right behind me and like circling me. And it kind of felt the way that acid does, if that makes sense, but not, but kind of like that sort of intensity. If you've ever done it before, how it's kind of just like all encompassing, kind of like that. And I could feel it coming, and it was like I knew what was gonna happen, like it had happened before, and then it like took over me, like it took over my body. I was screaming and like pounding on the ground, and I could see my legs like pounding on the ground in front of me. It was very surreal, and I could see Jagger being like, Brie, what's wrong, what's wrong, what's wrong? Like, stop screaming, it's the middle of the night. So when I woke up from this dream, at first I didn't even remember it, which is really frightening to me. I didn't remember it at all. Johnny was laying right next to me, and he like moved his hand or something, and I saw it out of the corner of my eye. I thought someone was in the room, so it scared me, and then it brought all that fear that I had just experienced in the dream back, and then I remembered everything, and I immediately started sobbing, and I was like, Johnny, wake up. And I could still feel whatever it was in the room with us. Like, instead of it being up in the corner where it usually was, it was like sitting right next to me, and I could feel it. I was sobbing. He didn't even know what to do. He was like he had just woken up, and I was like, it's right next to me. I'm so scared. I had this horrible dream. I'm so scared. And tears are just like rolling down my face. He was like, nothing's there. Nothing's next to you. We're all alone. And I'm like, no, 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 it's right next to me. So I get the courage, and I like spring up, and I go into the living room, and I'm like, no, we got to get out of here. And I could feel it like right behind me, following me into the living room. And I just sit like on the couch, and I just have like my eyes closed, and I'm just like, please go away, please go away, please go away. And eventually it did. That experience literally like scarred me for life. At some point in all of this, I get a little confirmation to what's happening. So my mom works for my grandma. My grandma has a personal like psychic astrologer person, just because she has one. She's a little bit bougie, okay? And the lady was like, hey, you have a daughter, something's wrong. Like, she has an entity attached to her or something. And my mom was like, the fuck are you talking about? And the lady was like, no, really, she has a pink mirror at the foot of her bed. I've had a vision of like being this entity and coming out through the mirror, and I could see her feet hanging off the bed. And guys, my mom was shook. She literally called me while I was at work, and she was like, don't go home, I'm shook, you can't be there. I was like, she probably heard of me through my nana, or like my mom mentioned something, but how she knew like the color of my room and where my mirror was, oh my god. So something for sure was happening. There's honestly a lot more. Like when I moved out to my apartment, more stuff kept happening, but I've already been filming for half an hour, so that might have to be for a separate video. And to be honest, I'm feeling a little shook. I don't want to be alone in my room anymore. So I'm gonna wrap this up and get the hell out of here. I'll for sure make another video talking about all my other experiences, but for right now, I think that's enough spookies. But I hope you guys aren't too spooked, and thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe, because I'm trying to post every single day in October. But yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.